So, good evening, everyone. Thank you for coming and joining today. Yeah, everyone here in person and online. So again, I would like to start with a short mindful breathing exercise to quiet our mind, to bring our mind in moment present, and follow by generating a positive motivation for being here. And try to make yourself relax, comfortable. And feel the weight of your body on cushion or chair. And as you breathe in and out naturally, observe the breath mindfully. Once your mind is settled down, then we can try to think and contemplate. As long as we are in this samsara of cyclic existence, there is no real lasting true peace and happiness. No matter where you are, no matter with whom you are, no matter who you are. Therefore, in order to achieve true and lasting peace and happiness, we need to free from the samsara. And to free from the samsara, we need to free from the bondage of contaminated karma and the delusions. Therefore, we need to reduce and eliminate those disturbing negative emotions, the defilements. To do that, we need to cultivate the opposing positive energy of those negative disturbing emotions. Therefore, for that, we need to generate and fully develop the wisdom relies on the ultimate truth, true loving kindness, compassion, bodhicitta mind. And to do that, we need to contemplate, meditate, and practice continuously, correctly. And for the success of our practice, meditation, and our spiritual path, we also need to gather the conducive conditions, the positive energy of the merits, and we need to clear the internal interference or obstacles. All the negative karmas. Again, to do that, we need to practice. And to practice, we need to be reminded of the practice. And we need to, therefore, we need to continue to study, learn about them. Therefore, I'm going to listen to the talks. Again, not only listen, but again, trying to integrate as much as possible in our everyday life whatever we find helpful and benefit beneficial. Okay, so we can do the reflection bodhicitta. Prayers.
Do the Tibetan, one time in Tibetan and 2 times in English. Sangye chudang soji choknam la changchu baru dakni jap soji daki chunin kipe sonam ki drola penche sangye drupar chu. Go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Supreme Assembly. By the merits I create through listening to the Dharma, may I become a Buddha in order to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Supreme Assembly. By the merits I create through listening to the Dharma, may I become a Buddha in order to benefit all sentient beings. Short mandala offerings in Tibetan. Om Sahaji Bhagi Joche Beto Dra Lenche Nede San Do me te
Do Mama Do Shin
Jetsun Lama Dampa Kelam Ye Jekukam Kenze Chuzentri Chita Sangre Duche Semala Sakyen Chuki Chapa Vatu So idam Guru Ratna Mandala Kam Niryatayami.
So on Monday evening, we kind of discuss why purification and accumulation of merit is so important in our spiritual practice, in training our mind. How those practice support and help our meditations, our practice, and progress in our spiritual path. So and today we will start discussing about, those practices of some of the practice of purification and accumulation merit that are kind of contents within a certain practice, such as seven limb practice. Those who have been kind of practicing Dharma for a while, we all are quite aware that most of the practice all the practice start with refuge and bodhicitta. And then, start with, many of them start with 4 immeasurable practice. There can be shorter versions, longer versions, but it starts with that, and then it starts with the 7-limb practice. In all the practice, that is at the very beginning. Before we engage into any daily sadhanas, or whether we engage in any Lamrim meditations, any kind of practice, at the very beginning of the practice, we see, the practice of 7 limbs, refuge, 7. Thank you. So it clearly shows how important that practice is. Whether you're practicing sutra path, Lamrim or any other practice, or whether you practice Vajrayana practice, Sadhana, but all those practice start with those. So in both Sutra and Tantra or Vajrayana, it clearly shows the importance of those practice. I don't know whether I want to go touch so much or talk so much on refuge today, because from the audience I see, I don't know, you need to hear so much. I think I think you have heard so much. You have been taking refuge and practice. So, but again, because whatever practice we do, whether it's Sutrayana, Tantrayana, whatever practice, because it's a Buddhist practice, that's why you always start with the refuge. When we go to refuge, then one of the kind of general commitment is that we will go to refuge before we engage in any important activities. And definitely, when you engage in any spiritual practice, we start with that. And again, it is important, to get the inspirations, to get the blessings, of the Guru, of the Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha, for the success of whatever our meditation, our practice. And so we would like to start that by going to refuge, to again there is, generally Buddha Dhamma Sangha. Sometimes we have extensive, then it is the Guru, the Yidam, Buddha Dhamma Sangha, and then sometime, and then the end is all of them. Guru, Buddha, Dhamma, Guru, Buddha, Yidam, and Guru, Yidam, Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha, all. So at the very beginning, you start with the Guru, then you start with the Yidam, the meditation of your personal meditation of deities, and then general all the Buddhas, Dhamma, Sangha, and then all, and sometime, Guru, Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha. In that case, Yidam is included within the Buddha, and sometimes Buddha Dhamma Sanghas, and Guru and Yidam is included in that Buddha when we do that, So again, you can see according to different practice. Some practice you have the refuge start with. I go refuge to the Guru. I go refuge to the Yidam. I go refuge to the Buddha. I go refuge to the Dhamma. I go refuge to the Sangha. I go refuge to the, and then the end, Guru, Yidam, Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha, all. And then in certain versions, then you see I go refuge to the Guru and then Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha, you know. Um, and then some versions, then you just, I go refuge to Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha, So again, is all of them are just perfect, just sometimes you want to do a little bit more extensive or a little of that meditation, then you can go a little further in that way. Mm. And in terms of visualizations, when you do the refuge, there are many different visualizations. One visualizations that you see according to the in the lamrim, in the middle is the Buddha Shakyamuni, and then surrounded by the four different lineage, and then all the idams surrounding that Buddha, all the bodhisattvas, then the Daga, Daginis, hero, heroine, and then Arhat. So that is one, like it is like in Tibetan, it called Tom Talk, means it's a gathering in a market, literally kind of translation, almost like that, So it's spread in all kind of in one level, in that. And that one, so, and then the Dharma, is the wisdom, realizing the ultimate truth of all the Buddhas and Arhat, and all the Buddhas and the Sanghas within Arya Sanghas. But in terms of external form, then you visualize, text. Is there wisdom, but in the form of scripture text? Because of course the wisdom doesn't have any form, But sometimes to help our mind, sometimes the visualization is done that you actually visualize that wisdom in the form of scripture in front of each of those holy beings, So that is one. And then in Lama Chopa, merit field, then it's slightly different. It's 11 kind of steps of the petals of the lotus of the on the tree, wishful tree. So instead of like in the market on one, but then in the middle is you visualize Buddha Shakyamuni, of course on the merit field. I mean in or you can visualize Lama Tsongkhapa, but if you want to do more general kind of refuge field, then Buddha Shakyamuni, and again surrounded by the five lineage of the gurus, and then next level of the lotus petals, there's the high Yoga Tantra deities, and the next level Yoga Tantra deities, and the next level is performing yoga deities, and then action deities, next level, and the next level, the Buddhas, such as thousand Buddhas or fortunate eons and so forth, and next, and Bodhisattvas, and Daginis, and then the Arhat, and the protectors. So it's kind of, so that is one way of, again, visualization. You see slightly different. And both of them are just fine, whatever you feel more connected, more easy, either. And then, most easiest ones, is that you visualize just Buddha Shakyamuni and see everything there, Is the Guru, is the Yidam, is the Buddha, is the Dharma, is the Sangha, all in one. And sometimes in Tibet, we call Nubukundulu, is the traditions of all in one, like the precious jewel, So in that, then you don't have to visualize so many beings. You just visualize just Buddha Shakyamuni. In that case, just the Buddha Shakyamuni on top of, lotus. There's a sun cushions. On top of sun, there's a moon cushions. And on top of the moon cushion, then there is the Buddha Shakyamuni. In essence, is the Guru. Your root Guru, but in the form of Buddha Shakyamuni. So they are the same beings in different form. So that is important part of the practice, especially in Tantra or Vajrayana path. Whatever deity you visualize, it could be Buddha Shakyamuni, it could be Avalokiteshvara, the Buddha of compassion, it could be Manjushri, the Buddha of wisdom, Tara, the Mother Tara, liberated Mother Tara, mother of all the Buddhas, and Yamantaka, Guya Samaja, Chakra Samaja, whatever deity or Vajra Yogini, whatever you visualize, always having this recognition, understanding, and awareness that it is your root guru in that form, in that aspect. There's no difference in essence. It's only different form. It's like someone who play different character in a movie. It's the same persons, In traditional example is like someone, when there's some kind of drama or dance, they come with different masks, but it's the same persons. In same way, that is how we see, it's the same being. In essence, it's the same being, but some, in these cases, is in the form of Buddha Shakyamuni, but it's your root guru. And when you see your root guru in that form, then you remind, is the Buddha Shakyamuni in this form, in this aspect. So always seeing same, inseparable. When you see the Buddha Shakyamuni, of course we see that form, that aspect, but reminding is our guru. And when you see your guru's pictures, the form is your guru, present guru's form. But again, this is the Buddha Shakyamuni. So in that training, we see them inseparable, and so in that, then you see the, Buddha Shakyamuni, who is inseparable guru, also who is inseparable from your Yidam. Your Yidam is Buddha Shakyamuni is your Yidam. There are no difference, different form, but it's the same being, same essence, And Buddha Shakyamuni's, his speech is the Dharma. His mind is the Buddha. his body is the Sangha. So you see Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha all in one. And therefore, that one beings that you visualize, in this case, Buddha Shakyamuni is all in one, all. Is, and with that understanding, then you go for refuge. So generally, there is kind of 3 different levels of visualization or refuge field. Okay, as I mentioned, those 3, and whatever one feel more easy, connected, then you try to use that visualizations, and whatever visualization that you use, then in case we use, the 5, when, so you can recite I go refuge the Guru, whether you recite in English or in Tibetan or in Sanskrit, Namo Guru Be, whether you say Namo Guru Be or whether you say I go refuge in the Buddha, Guru, or in Tibetan Lama Gyatso Chewa, doesn't matter, whatever, again, you feel more strongly connected or relatable for you. Doesn't matter which language you kind of use that, so you can, you might want to recite 1 time or 3 times or 7 times. While you recite, then, from the refuge field, either of 3 visualization you do, from the heart of the the gurus, white light nectar flow, cleanse, purify all your illness, whether it's physical illness, whether it's a mental illness, all the negative karma, which are the potential for future problem, future sufferings, and then all the negative karma, all the obscurations, and especially all the negative karma that we have created in relation to the Guru has been completely purified through our body, speech, and mind, whatever that we have disturbed their mind, not follow their advice, or criticize them, whatever way that we might have, visualized all these have been cleansed, purified, and then, yellow light net flow from their heart, receiving all the blessings of enlightened body, speech, and mind, all the spiritual realizations, especially in relation to the Guru, then, pure, unshakable realization of Guru devotions, receiving that. So we can visualize that. And then next, you again recite 1, 3, 7, whatever, I go refuge to the deity, the meditational deity, again, how many ever you recite. And again, white light, nectar flow, purify, again, same, all the illness, all the negative karma, all the delusion, all the obscuration, especially whatever negative karma we might have created in relation to the deities, criticizing the deity, having doubt, being disrespectful, all whatever, through that, whatever negative karma we might have created, all this being cleansed, purified, and then yellow light nectar flow, and then receiving all the blessing of enlightened body, speech, and mind, and all the spiritual realizations, and especially, again, unshakable faith and to that deity, receiving that. And then same, then you visualize from the Buddhas, whether you just visualize one Buddha all in that, or you visualize many Buddhas from all of them, or just in one case, then all in one. Again, white light nectar flow, purify, cleanse all your negative karma, all your sickness, negative karma, delusion, obscuration, and especially all the negative karma that we might have created in relation to the Buddhas, Again, hurting the Buddhas, being disrespectful to the Buddhas, criticizing and through whatever way, having doubt the Buddhas and Buddha's qualities, whatever, whatever negative karma we might have created in relation to Buddha, having cleansed, purify, and again, completely cleanse, purify, and then yellow and nectar, orange, yellow nectar flow, nectar and light flow, and receiving all the blessing of body, speech, and mind, enlightened body, speech, and mind, and all the spiritual realization, especially, again, unshakable, unmovable, trust, confidence, and faith in Buddha, and then same, then from the scripture that we might have visualized, which is the Dharma, is wisdom in the form of scriptures, and from there, in the heart of all the Buddhas, white light, nectar flow, purify all your um, illness, negative karma, delusion, obscuration, especially all the negative karma that we have created in relation to the Dharma. Again, criticizing the Dharma, being doubtful of the Dharma, being disrespectful of the Dharma, in whatever way, being disrespectful, not being respectful, So all those negative karma being cleansed, purified, receiving all the blessings, enlightened body, speech, mind, all the spiritual realization, especially, again, having the trust, faith, and respect to the Dharma, the realization of that. And then, from all the sanghas, the bodhisattvas, Daga, Daginis, hero, heroine, all the arhat, from there, Arya beings from white light, nectar flow, purify all your negative karma, all the illness, negative karma, delusion, obscuration, especially all the negative karma that we have created in relation to the Sangha have been cleansed and purified, Again, criticizing them, dividing the Sangha members, um, misusing the Sangha's resources and so forth, So whatever negative karma we have created in relation being cleansed, purified, and then again, yellow, orange, light, nectar flow, receiving all the blessings of body, speech, enlightened body, speech, and mind, and all the spiritual realization, especially, again, realization of strong faith, confidence, and respect to the Dhamma, and Sangha. And then you can do from all together, if you are visualizing many, then is the Guru, Idam, Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha. From all of them, then white light nectar flows simultaneously, and then cleanse, purify all your illness, negative karma, delusion, obscurations, and especially all the negative karma that we have created in relation to all of them, and then that are being purified, and then receiving the blessings of enlightened body, speech, and mind, and all the spiritual realizations, and having strong realization of strong devotion, faith, trust, and respect to all the Buddha, the Guru, the Idam, Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha, And so that is little bit to deal with the refuge visualizations. Okay, was it too much? I think yeah, if you have heard before, it's not too much. But I think if you are hearing the first time, maybe There's too much information. Yeah, that is how in Lama Chopa. So, and because it is a Mahayana practice, then you start with bodhicitta. You know, your whatever practice, whatever meditation practice you do, since what we are trying to practice is the Mahayana practice, bodhisattva path. So then, after refuge, then there is bodhicitta. That is why we have always refuge and bodhicitta. Refuge because it's Buddhist practice, and because it's a Mahayana practice, then you start with the bodhicitta motivation, the intentions. Not only you recite, you try to generate the bodhicitta motivation as pure as possible, as profound as possible. You know, and in many cases, then after that is the four immeasurable practice. You know, and the four immeasurable practice in these cases, when it comes after the bodhicitta, then it is to help to maintain the bodhicitta which we have generated, so it doesn't decrease, but instead we can maintain and increase it through the practice of the four immeasurable. When it comes before the bodhicitta in normal training, then it is a cause, you know, equanimity, and then on the basis of equanimity, then you have loving kindness, and compassions, cultivating loving kindness, compassion, and joys, um, um, you know, the joy, immeasurable joyfulness, and through those training, then on basis of that, then you cultivate the bodhicitta mind. So it can be practiced before or after, you know. And in many of our practice, you see them coming after the refuge and bodhicitta. And that in those cases, then it is kind of reinforce the bodhicitta mind you already have cultivated. You know, you already have cultivated the bodhicitta mind, bodhicitta motivations. So to reinforce that bodhicitta mind so you can maintain and increase and improve and not decrease. So then four immeasurable. The four immeasurable, you know, short one, may all sentient beings, you know, have happiness and cause of happiness, you know, the immeasurable loving kindness. May all sentient beings be free from suffering and cause of suffering, immeasurable compassions, you know. May all sentient beings be never separated from happiness that is free from suffering, immeasurable joy. May all sentient beings abide in equanimity, free from attachment to your friends and aversions or anger towards your enemy. And that is immeasurable equanimity. And so those are the four immeasurable. That. And then after that, then you see the seven limb practice. And seven limb practice, you know, can come in different verses, you know. Shortest one, there is one line to each other, so it's like 7 verses. You know, I reverently prostrate to the, what was the, I reverently prostrate and I make offering of every offering, imagine and actually arrange. I confess all the negativities that I've created from beginning lifetime. So these are with one line, not even a verse, with one line, then there is each of those 7 limb practice. That is short. And then many others, you know, you find one verses to each of them. In some cases, there are many, many verses to each of them. Again, as I mentioned on the Monday evenings, Sometimes there is a lot of misunderstanding of those such practice, seven limb and all others, at almost like kind of, is more like a Tibetan things that was introduced by the Tibetans. It's not true. If you go to the sutra sources, actually this king of the prayers come from the sutra. It's a sutra, and the king of the sutra, king of the prayer, started the seven limb practice. If you read the Golden Light Sutra, there's one whole chapter on confessions. Very long, whole chapter on confessions. There are chapters on extensive offerings in many other sutras. If you read, also Nagarjuna's writing, you also find seven-limb practice. If you read Shantideva's, seven-limb practice, chapter, chapter 2 and 3, are on that. Chapter 2, yeah, in chapter 2 and chapter 3, it is the seven-limb practice. Of course, he go more detail on the offering and confessions process, and then in terms of other practice, such as requesting the eternal will of Dharma, requesting the Guru to live forever. Doesn't go so detailed, but it's there. And the dedication, you see one whole chapter at the end, the whole dedication. So whole seven-limb practice is also there. Okay. And then same, Adisha, Dibamkara also in his writing, I think, now I'm getting a little confused whether it is the Light of the Path or whether it is the Garlands of Bodhisattvas, the Lojong. Again, either one of them, again, he encouraged to engage in the seven-limb practice. Let me see if I can find, I know, somewhere. Yeah. Yeah, Bodhisattva Garland of Jewel, that was where it is. Where he says, share your merit among all sentient beings and with seven branch practices. So those seven branch or seven limb practice, same. Sometimes it's translated seven limbs, sometimes seven branches of practice of prayer. So here that is where in that he mentioned, share your merit among all sentient beings and with the seven branch practices. Continually make great prayer or inspirations and practice, Practicing like this, you will complete accumulation, both merit and wisdom, and eliminate two forms of obscuration And you will make this human life meaningful, and in the time gain unsurprisable awakening. So here clearly mentions, you know, if you engage in those practice, you know, then eventually you will accumulate, you know, the collection of merit and wisdom, and through collection to merit, then you will be able to overcome two obscurations through the, you know, the obscuration of the defilement, or obscuration of the knowledge, the subtle obscuration, and by overcoming two obscuration, then you will be able to achieve the awakening state of the Buddhahood, the two form, you know, Dharmakaya form and Rupakaya form. And through the collection of wisdom, you achieve the awakening of Dharmakaya. Through the collection of merit, then you achieve the awakening of Rupakaya form. And that is how you achieve fully awakened state. You know, so I just wanted to kind of give those what do you call? I just wanted to point out the sources from all where this practice come, in terms of sutra, in terms of early Indian masters, Nagarjuna, Shantidevas, Adisha Devamkaras. So that we understand those come from reliable earlier sources, is not something that was kind of made up by the Tibetan masters later. You know, there is a authentic sources for those practices. If you go further, back to sutras, okay? So then 7 limb practices going into that, and before we actually go the verses itself from the King of Prayers. The 7 limb practice are, you know, prostrations, first one. Second one, offerings. Third one, confessions. Fourth one, rejoicing in the virtues. You know, fifth one, requesting to turn the wheel of Dharma. Sixth one, requesting to the Guru or the Buddha to live until the samsara ends, or until each and every sentient being is liberated. And seventh one is the dedications, you know, dedicating for enlightenment, dedicating for all sentient beings, you know. So those are the 7 limb practice. And as I mentioned on Monday, this practice, when it is done with the right understanding and correctly, they are not just kind of rituals. They are mind training. They are part of mind training. And they are mind training. You know, when it is not fully understood, then it feels like it is just kind of traditions, some kind of rituals, nothing to do with mind training. I feel it's important to understand that, you know. If you don't understand that, then you don't feel the importance of them, because you feel I don't need for my mind training, because I'm not interested in rituals. Do you get it? I'm not interested in rituals, and those are just rituals. It's not part of mind training. I'm more interested in my mind training, and those are not needed, not important. There's a lot of that kind of attitude. and is due to not fully understanding what those practices are and how it is practiced correctly in the right way. Part of mind training is, reducing the whole part of mind training is reducing those disturbing negative emotions and increasing, improving those helpful, positive mind, emotion. That's what mind training is all about. And mind training is about reducing and overcoming anger, attachment, ignorance, jealousy, pride, the self-centeredness, all these negative emotion that hurt us and that hurts others, that harm us, that harms others. And whereas reducing them and cultivating and increasing, patience, true love, compassion, bodhicitta mind, wisdoms, equanimity, sense of true contentment, all those different positive and helpful and beneficial state of minds. And each of those 7 limb practice, when it's done with correct understanding correctly, they act as antidote towards one of those negative emotions. It is an antidote towards one of those negative emotions. Prostrations, when it's done with correct understanding and correctly, with the right attitude and sincerely, then it is an antidote towards, arrogant, delusional pride or arrogant. Is a practice, is a training through such to reduce sense of arrogance, sense of delusional pride, where we feel, why should I bow to someone else? They should bow to me. That kind of attitude. Do you get it? The sense of arrogance, sense of the delusional pride is, why should I bow to that person? That person should bow to me. I'm not less than that person, you know. And so when you vow, not just because you are physically bowing from your mind, that humbleness, because you see the other, by seeing the other more supreme, with kind of by seeing other supreme and respect, and with that kind of mindset, with that kind of, when you bow down, then it reduces the sense of arrogance. It's not just pushing your body. Of course, if you are just pushing your body with no sense of those feelings, then of course it becomes just a ritual. Then it doesn't become mind training, because you just do this and just go, you do the push up, Buddhist push up, you know, with slightly different, you know, you know, uh, what do you call, creative push up, instead of just going down and doing this, you know. Uh, Otherwise, it just become a push up, and it just seems a ritual. It's just become physical something, but it doesn't become mind training. But when you really look in your own mind, and when we see sense of superiority, that I'm more superior than others, I'm better than others, they are less than me, and when we have that kind of sense of arrogant and kind of delusional pride, and then with that, you know, understanding and to destroy that mind, then engaging such training, seeing the others more supreme, respectful, and when you bow down, it's an antidote. It's a training your mind. It's a training to reduce your ego, and engaging more practice of humility and humbleness. If I remember correctly, there was become a big kind of issue and news when Obama went to Japan when he was president and when he was meeting the king. And I think traditionally, Obama kind of bow in certain way, that way people bow to the king. And I know in this country there was a lot of news. He shouldn't do that. He shouldn't bow. Being the president of the most powerful countries or whatever, there was a lot of talk about that. That is how it is. Why should I bow him? Why should we bow them? Because we are more powerful, because we are bigger. That is sense of attitude of arrogant, sense of attitude of arrogant and delusional pride. And that bowing is not even touching the feet. It was just, I think, just a gesture or a little bit. I don't know, even two hands were folded, but I think it was just bowing a little bit down. And I remember that became a big, big topic of discussions on news, on commentators, analysis, for many, many days or weeks. So with that, we understand, it is, if we do correctly, then it's, mm, I will go to the verses later, but so that is the first, the frustrations, bowing down. It's an antidote to the pride, the ego, the arrogant, okay? And it's a training to reduce that. Can you see how it is mind training? It's not just kind of what you call just lying down your body, you know. Um, Also during the Buddha's time, Buddha made those rules, regulations within uh, the Sangha, within the community of the monks, the followers, you know. And whoever is ordained first, if someone is ordained before me 1 second, I have to bow down to him, anyone who is senior than me. Senior in case that someone has took the ordinations before me. They all are senior than me, and it is you. And because at that time, the caste system is very, very strong in that part of the world. Still, it exists even in now, but at that time, extremely, you know. But Buddha reformed that, changed that. He said, in my religions or in my spiritual path, there is no caste systems. Whoever practice, they achieve enlightenment, regardless of what caste system you come from what kind of background you come from, regardless of what kind of family you come from, or professional you come from, or what gender you are, and it is big at that time, So at the very beginning, there was Buddha was passing by one of his earliest students who come from the so-called the low class or low caste, untouchable caste, the worst ones, and Buddha was trying to touch him, and he was so afraid he tried to run away because if you touch him, then he's polluting them according to that system. So if he touched the Buddha, then he will be going to hell or whatever, and he might be outcast or whatever, because he polluted the Buddhas. Because Buddha come from, even he is not Buddha, he is a high caste, warrior caste. Is after Brahma is the second caste, royal, royal warrior caste. And then Buddha has to convince him and be compassionate and touch him, drink water from him. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. And later, many of them from that caste follow the Buddhas and practice. And so in that time, they are the lowest caste. And now, after there's other ordination come from the highest caste, Brahman and the warrior and all of that, and they have to prostrate to this most lower caste. That will be very humbling. That will be very humbling. And that will hurt their ego if someone is not strong practitioners. And again, I think, of course, there are many different reasons. I think also it's part of training, that Buddha put them in the training, to really let go of this attitude that you are more superior because you are born in certain family and certain professional and some. And so it's to break down as well as train their mind to let go of that attitude. So they have to respect, they have to prostrate, they have to bow down to even the most low caste. So anyway, I was relating with how that this practice is really training your mind to reduce and destroy your sense of your ego, what you feel, ego and your sense of supreme and arrogant, that part. And second, practice of offerings, again, if it's understood well and if it does correctly, again, it's training your mind. It's part of training mind, because it's training your mind to let or cling and grasping to the objects. It's training your mind to be more generous, more giving. So it's an antidote towards greediness or miserliness, where you will always feel, I don't have enough to give. I don't have enough to offer. I don't have enough to practice generosity or whatever, So we have this kind of greediness or miserliness or stinginess mind, where we feel that I don't have enough to practice giving, So when you practice to offerings, whether it's offering to the Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha, and offering to the organizations, with the Dharma organization, other charitable organization, or individual. So you learn your mind to learn to give, let go of clinging, grasping, and training and let go of feeling that you don't have enough, but instead think I have more than enough to give. Feeling of abundant instead of feeling of poor. If we don't train our mind, you can be billionaire externally, but you can have poor mentality and attitude because you still feel you don't have enough to offer or to practice generous gift. On the other hand, someone might have very little. Someone might have, in some external, they might have very little, but they have mentality of richness, where they feel, oh, I can share it, I can give it, I can offer it, I have more than enough. And so again, is part of training your mind to be more open, more courageous, you know, more giving instead of stingy mind, greedy mind, the poor mind, you know. In regard to that, there is a, I can't remember the whole verses, but the main in Shantidevas, the attitude of if I give to, if I give this to someone, offer to someone, give to someone, what will be left for me? Such attitude is a devil or evil attitude. Whereas the attitude, if I experience, use myself, what will be the left to give to someone? That is a divine attitude. That is bodhisattva attitude. So these two different attitudes. The bodhisattva attitude is, if I eat this myself, I wouldn't have anything to give to someone. If I enjoy all myself, if I eat everything myself, if I use everything myself, I wouldn't have anything left to give to others. That is the bodhisattva attitude. That is the divine attitude. That is the attitude of, the richness, abundant in your mind. The other one is, if I give this to someone, what will be left for me? There wouldn't be anything left for me. And that is what we have, the fear, fear of, if I share, if I offer, if I give, what will happen to me? What will be there be, what will be left for me? All that, and so that attitude, So basically, change, transforming that attitude into the attitude of the bodhisattva or divine, and so that is what is. And then the third one, confessions, purifications, is the is the antidote towards all the delusions, all the delusions, recognizing, that out of attachments, out of anger, out of ignorance, out of jealousy, out of arrogant, out of ego, that I have hurt and harmed others through body, speech, mind, all of them. So being mindful and recognizing that, being aware of that, acknowledging that, acknowledging that was something that I've engaged in something that is hurtful, harmful to someone in such a way. not only others, hurting and harming oneself as well in that way, acknowledging, and then, recognizing it is something unwholesome, unhealthy, and then regretting that, and then, out of strong determinations not to engage again in such harmful actions in the future, and then you engage in the virtues as a way of any virtue to kind of redeem that, any way to purify that, and that is purification. And in that way, then again, it become a antidote towards all the different delusions. Out of whatever delusion we act and engage in one of those unwholesome actions, negative actions, So again, it's not just reciting the mantras or reciting the prayers, or just throwing yourself as a way of prostrating. It's not. But when you really truly practice the purification confession from your heart, you go deep inside and you recognize out of those delusions that I have acted unwholesomely, and you acknowledge that was something unwholesome, that was something harmful, and thus you don't want to act that way, and you don't want those emotions that motivate or that kind of drop us to engage in such action. And so when you recognize that and you're trying to reduce those negative emotions so you don't create more negative karma, and then that become antidote towards reducing and overcoming those afflictive emotions. Again, it's not just physically throwing yourself, it's not just reciting word, mantras, whatever, but you are looking deep inside, and from that, if you walk with that, from coming from your deep heart in that way, then again, it's mind training. It's not just a rituals and physical. It's something more internal and working with your mind, and it become true mind trainings. So yeah, today I will kind of stop here. Take some cautions if there's any cautions, comments, cautions, whether in if anyone's any cautions, please you can unmute, or in here raise your hand. Any cautions, anything to share, anything to discuss, feel free. No questions?
I have a question, I guess.
Okay. Yes.
Hi,
Yes.
Geshe-la. Good to see you again.
Thank you.
For prostrations, if you're newly starting out and you've just taken refuge, what is your recommendation, I guess, daily as a practice to do?
You have to do 100,000 prostration each day.
Okay, I'm ready.
Those who have already been, they have already done. So someone who is very new, they have to do more. So they have to do 100,000 prostration each day.
I'll get strong,
Uh, no, it will be good to do, full or half prostrations. Three in the morning, three in the evenings. Three in the morning when you get up, remembering the Buddha Dhamma Sangha, and then doing three prostrations before you go to bed, remembering the Buddha Dhamma Sangha, do three prostrations, and kind of getting their blessings in that way. So those are the things in terms of prostrations, of course, there's no limit to how much you can do. At least you try to do 3. So that is one. And then, of course, for someone who has taken, there is a short Buddha Shakyamuni practice, very short. And I think it would be nice to do that every day. And Buddha Shakyamuni practice, I think it could be in the FMT, this prayer books. It's a short. It just starts with Refuge, Bodhisattvas, 4 immeasurable, 7 limb, visualizing Buddha Shakyamuni. You can visualize at the very beginning or here, and then short 7 limbs. And if you do the short mandala, you can do short mandala, and then recitation of Buddha Shakyamuni mantras, 1 time, 3 time, or 7 time, or 21 time. And then, do the visualizations of, from the Buddha Shakyamuni while you recite that mantra, cleansing and purifying the illness, negative karma, delusion, obscuration, and receiving the blessing of enlightened body speech of Buddha Shakyamuni, and then all the spiritual realizations. And then, Buddha Shakyamuni, the Guru Buddha Shakyamuni dissolve in the light, light dissolve in yourself, and merge yourself in Buddha Shakyamuni, body, speech, and mind, and Guru Buddha Shakyamuni. And then you do the dedications, you can do long dedication, short dedication. If you do the short dedication, there is the dedication verse, or, one verse that says, by this virtue of merit, may I actualize the Buddhahood in order to liberate all sentient beings. And also you can do the metta that you do. Or if you want to add more dedication, then you can add metta, Supreme Bodhicitta, which has not arise and grow, which has arise and not diminish, but increase and more. And you can, instead of Bodhicitta, in that Bodhicitta, you can actually, when you think Bodhicitta is not just conventional Bodhicitta, you can think of ultimate Bodhicitta. So in that include both wisdom and the conventional Bodhicitta. Or otherwise, you can say, may the wisdom realize emptiness, which has not arise, and may it arise and grow, and which has same instead of bodhicitta, you use the wisdom, and you can do that dedications, and many other dedication. If you want to add, you can add dedication, but at least short dedication at the end. So I think that kind of very on minimum short level. I think it will be nice to have that kind of daily practice. It could be just 10-15 minutes of that, that practice. And at the very beginning, you can start with a little bit of mindful breathing meditations, followed by generating good intention for the practice, for the day, for the year, for the life. And then you do the practice, and then, I think I will kind of, that will be my kind of suggestions for someone who might have taken refuge recently, and to establish some kind of short daily practice.
Thank you.
Yeah, most welcome. Yes, please.
Thanks, Geshe-la. I would like to ask you, in terms of accumulation, there is a specific correct way to do the preliminary practice of refuge, like the 100,000 Namagurube.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Yes. Again, I think they can be done many different ways. Extensive. Extensive is like, you do the Lama Chopa and kind of integrating within the Lama Chopa and doing the refuge. But of course, Lama Chopa is quite long, so if you then you or you can integrate with Gandhi Lakema, you do the Gandhi Lakema and refuge, yeah, Gandhi Lakema is the shorter version of the Lam Tsongkhapa's Guru Yoga, so it's not very long, and so again, you integrate within that practice, if not, then again, you do the basic, you try to do the refuge bodhicitta, trying to generate the right motivations, and then refuge and bodhicitta, then four immiscibles, and then 7 limbs, long, very long, middle, small, short versions, depending on your time, depending on your all of that, and then do a short, if not long, short mandala, and then you can do the refuge while whether you recite Namo Gurubhaya, Namo Buddhaya, Namo Dhammaya, Namo Sanghaya, you can do and you can count, or you can just do each of them. Namo Gurubhaya 100,000, Namo Buddhaya 100,000, Namo Dhammaya Namo thousands, Namo Sanghaya 100,000. Or you can do, Namo Gurubhaya, Namo Buddhaya, Namo Dhammaya, Namo Sanghaya 1, Namo Gurubhaya, Namo Buddhaya that. Or you can do English version. I go refuge the Buddha, Guru, I go refuge the Buddha, I go refuge the Dhamma, I go refuge Sangha. It's those 4 line, or you can do 5 line with the idam, so you do that. And you can either do all 5 or 4 or 3 together, and count 1, or you just do each of them 100,000 each. Both of them are just fine. Whatever is more easy for the visualizations and that. And then after, of course, you visualize the refuge field before you do that, and then you do the visualization, and then it dissolve into yourself and merge with yourself and become one, and then you do the dedications. And so, so that is how you can do the refuge, in terms of refuge, as a preliminary. Yeah. And also, when you do the preliminaries, traditionally it's quite strict, but of course it is not so easy for most people. Traditionally, whatever preliminary you do, you try to do in one place in one cushions. You finish one place, one cushions, and traditionally, whatever you start first day, how number, until you finish, you should do at least that numbers, even when you are sick, and but of course, I think that would be too difficult for a lot of people, with their job, work, traveling and everything, and they cannot find so much time to finish in one place, in one cushion. So I think in recent times, including Lama Sopa Rinpoche and other lamas have made it a little bit kind of easy, so you don't have to do in one place, one cushions, but you try to do one session every day after you start, wherever you are, wherever, even if it's a short session when you are busy, but at least try to do one sessions. And when you have time, you do 3 sessions, 4 sessions, 5 sessions. Or you do retreat, weekend retreat, weekday, 1 week or month, whenever you get. If not, at least you try to do 1 session every day and until you finish that, So that would be, yeah. Any others? Then we'll do the dedication if, yeah.
Dedication prayers. Shall we try the Tibetan? Okay. Kewadi Yodo Da Lama Sanke Dukyone Drowa Chikyang Malupa Dei Sala Purpashu Jangchu Semcho Rinpoche Make Panang Ke Kyoche Ke Wanyam Pa Me Payang Kong Le Kong Du Pe Washu. Long life prayer for His Holiness the Dalai Lama, the wish granting, wish fulfilling jewel, source of every single benefit and happiness in this world. To the incomparably kind Tenzin Gyatso, I beseech, may all your holy wishes be spontaneously fulfilled. And prayer for the swift return of Lama Zopa Rinpoche, peerless teacher and assembly of the children of the victorious one, Shravakas and Pratyeka Buddhas, victorious Losang, father and sons, along with the lineage masters, all the objects of refuge of infinite lands, please bestow the virtue and goodness of accomplishing this prayer here and now, holding and spreading the Muni's precious and complete teachings through explanation and practice. You are the armor of patience that is never discouraged. Incomparably venerable Guru, to you I make request. While striving single-pointedly for the sake of victorious one's teachings, the sole gateway through which all benefit and happiness emerge, and for other living beings, you suddenly departed to peace. What a great loss! Nevertheless, through the undeceiving truth of the blessings of the ocean of the three jewels, and the great waves of Bodhisattva of the children of the victorious ones, may the smile of a reincarnation swiftly beam in glory for fortunate disciples.
Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you for coming. And it's nice to see, I think there are a few who joined from the Baspani, the Kopan West. I think I see a couple of them. Okay. Good night, everyone. Good night. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Good night. Thank you.